chosen one. It was said you would destroy the leftists, not join them. And bring balance to Twitter. Not leave it in darkness.
You were the chosen one. Oh, Elon. There's a particular Twitter thread today that has everybody, in particular pundits on the right, absolutely melting down. It's got me pretty frustrated because it seems like none of these people have ever worked in a corporation or worked in one through a transition. And just so, in full transparency, I actually have. We've been through acquisitions and nowhere near the size of Twitter's 8,000 employees. Seems like a lot of people really pissed off that, Elon didn't march in the front door Friday at 5 p.m. having never seen a single line of code and made enormous changes and undid all the wrongs that have happened over the years. I believe that he still will. But this tweet thread is concerning. But I think I can explain why. I understand why people are mad and upset and blackpilled, because free speech advocates such as myself have been taking absolute L after L after L. But I really think that people are not looking at the big picture here. And I guess you can be the judge. Here it is. So Yoel Roth, where if you watch my first video today, this guy is easily the most hated individual at Twitter. Everyone wants him gone. And if you want to know why, watch my first video today. I think there's a fair argument for replacing him. I'm not saying fire him for sure, but take him out of this role. Talks about election stuff. So Elon replies to Yoel saying, talk to several society leaders, including this guy of the ADL. This person, Yael Einstadt, also at the ADL, which is, basically a censorship bully organization these days, in my opinion. Rashada Robinson, Jessica Gonzalez, co-CEO of Free Press. Basically, a lot of leftist organizations and pro-censorship people like the NAACP, and then like BoomerCon, George W. Bush presidential, a bunch of terrible people, establishment people that really, why is Elon, people are saying, why in the heck is Elon talking to these losers? I understand that. He then makes things kind of worse by continuing and saying, Twitter will not allow who was deplatformed for violating Twitter rules back on the platform until we have a clear process for doing so, which will take at least a few more weeks. Now, there's two things I think I understand that from what I understand, that people are pissed off about. The first is the group of people that he talked to. These are not people that are well liked in the free speech community for a lot of good reasons. The second is that there isn't any real light at the end of the tunnel of bringing back people that were, many believe were unfairly banned. Not necessarily just like banned, for breaking terms of service, but people like PV, people like Babylon B, etc., probably could have been reinstated day one, regardless of whether or not Elon knew the code or Elon's team had seen the code. I think that that's fair. Elon could have came in and said, who handles bannings and unbannings? Here's a list, unban these people. And maybe there were some less inflammatory ones, like PV and Babylon B, I think wouldn't have been as big of a deal. There's the doctor I can't think of. Stuff like that. Trump obviously would have been a bigger deal, but I digress. And I think people are right to say that, my position is coming from a position of somebody who, I want to be careful. Like, I'm not trying to dump on people for being a little black-pilled. But what I am trying to do is provide some level of perspective here. These two tweets are bad, okay? But also expectations on the right and in the center are ridiculous. This guy walked into a building with 8,000 employees. Most of them hate him. And people are like, why didn't he just do this already? Why didn't he do that already? Why didn't he do this already? How could he? It's going to take weeks for those Tesla engineers to get through that code. I think they have till the 7th. That's like 2 weeks. And then maybe he can start making changes. I also believe that all the people claiming that, oh, shadow banning's better, this or that's better, I don't know necessarily if that's true. It seems like some days it is, some days it isn't. He goes on to say, Twitter's Content Moderation Council will include representatives with widely divergent views, which will certainly include the civil rights community and groups who face hate-fueled violence. Now, Elon got brutally ratioed by his own people on these tweets, especially this last one. Now, people are saying that he's conflating talking to these people, like the NAACP and ADL and stuff like that, with being on some sort of content moderation council. I don't think he's saying that specifically, but if you are putting the ADL on there, you know, I guess if you want to keep advertisers happy, you have to, but you need to have some freaking conservatives on this list. I don't think it really counts to have the George Bush Center on here. So, you know, you see a lot of people, LOL, the only people who were treated unfairly on Twitter were conservatives and anyone who dared to go against the Democrat machine talking points. Any other group could say whatever they wanted. You're listening to the exact people responsible for this BS. A fair take. Many did not violate many of these people didn't violate terms of service. They only reported events, spoke about the poke, side effects. Some of them most renowned, like Dr. Malone or Jordan B. Peterson. Well, he wasn't banned. And Tommy Robinson, James O'Keefe. I would agree that there were people that didn't break terms of service and seemed like they were banned for political reasons that Elon could reinstate sooner. And with the midterm elections coming up, people are rightfully pissed off about getting told that it's going to take a few more weeks. They're also rightfully told, they're rightfully mad that he's immediately talking to basically all the who's who of censorship on the internet. The fact of the matter is, Elon has to talk to these people. He has no choice. He has to talk to these people until such a point where Twitter does not have to rely on advertising revenue. Okay. He also didn't say, I'm listening to them. He just said, I talked to them. Understand that Elon buying Twitter does not change the power structure of the entire internet. Still, organizations like those listed wield a lot of power in terms of controlling advertising dollars through social pressure. Elon buying Twitter does not change that. Ultimately, if Elon can monetize Twitter through Twitter Blue and through, he's going to need a lot more obviously than that, then he becomes less reliant on advertisers. So in no way am I supporting this, okay? But I'm saying I understand. I just don't, I get frustrated when I see this, like, why are you even talking to them? Blah, 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 blah. Because if he didn't, the ADL and then NAACP would put out statements saying, Elon doesn't want to work with us. He's obviously pro-hate speech, blah, 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 blah. And then MasterCard would pull all their advertising, and Ford would pull all their advertising, and Chevy would pull all their advertising, Coca-Cola would pull all their advertising, Honda would pull all their advertising, and he would lose hundreds of millions of dollars overnight. He has to play the game, at least for some period of time. The fact that he just bought the platform doesn't really fix anything. Also, he's got about 4,000 people to lay off. He's got to trim the fat big time. This is like buying a terrible cut of meat, like the worst brisket you ever bought. Once he cuts their operating expenses in half, they cut the salary by $50 million a year, $100 million a year. That also gives him more freedom to move. However, again, I am not saying I'm pumped to see him talking to these people, but I'm saying he has to. And a lot of people are very, very upset with him. Very upset with him. Benny Johnson. The only people ever attacked or structurally taking advantage of on Twitter were conservatives, and it came from the far left Twitter staff. Name a single account on the left that was censored or wrongfully deplatformed, yet your friends at the Babylon Bee are still locked out. Again, Benny Johnson, follow him, like the account, but it's been 4 days. Okay? Walked in the door late Friday afternoon. I assume some people work Saturday and Sunday, but they may not have even worked Saturday and Sunday. It is now, at this time, when he was tweeting this stuff out, Wednesday morning. He's getting immense pressure from all sides. I am not, again, people will still see this video. It's like, I'm not trying to simp for the guy. I'm just saying I've been through corporate acquisitions. Nothing changes in 4 days. Usually what happens is the acquisition happens months before anyone ever even knows. I mean, you're replacing a CEO. You're replacing a board of directors. It's been 4 days. This is not a good sign, and I think Elon really needs to consider doing some good faith stuff. Like, I don't know, just coming in and restoring the Babylon Bee and restoring, a couple of small accounts, or, making a formal announcement about getting rid of shadow bans, because here, Chicago Glenn, this person, Elon always responds to them. I'm not sure exactly who they are. But like, they've tweeted several times about their shadow bannings in various states. It's because I don't believe that any real shadow bans have actually been listed. I think most of what people are experiencing is coincidence. I don't believe that Twitter has changed anything in the code yet, because I don't believe it would have even been possible by now. Who knows how much code these developers had to go through, but they've had hours only. And they didn't have any kind of head start. So this is very concerning. This is a part of the old structure that Twitter still needs to play ball with. That's very concerning to see this stuff, and I understand why people are pissed. And I'm hoping that Elon does make some time to provide some good faith stuff today instead of worrying about charging for blue check marks. That's like number 500 on the list of things that are important to most people. You can support someone like I support him, but also I think it's fair to call out questionable behavior. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And because it's hard to find my videos in the search algorithm. If you understand shadow banning, you understand that. Please do subscribe to the channel wherever you're watching it. Rumble, Odyssey, Gilded, YouTube, BitChute. And I greatly appreciate all your support, and I'll keep you updated on everything.